Today, I got some jailhouse mail, so you better stick around if you want to see this new mail that has been filed with the court hot off the presses from the jail cell of the husband of Cora Jakes, aka the daughter of Bishop TDJakes over there at that Potter's House Church in Dallas. Hi there, I'm Professor Blackmore, and welcome back to my channel. Now, in previous episodes of my series entitled Potter's House, PedoFiles, I broke down the cold hard facts directly from the criminal court indictment surrounding the arrest of Richard Brandon Coleman, the husband of Cora Jakes Coleman. And so, you want to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so you'll be notified when I follow up on this hot tea, because the way the whole thing is playing out on social media, something tells me there will be numerous developments happening on a moment's notice. And so, you want to get all caught up, I highly suggest that you watch my prior videos, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'll place a direct link in the description section below. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video by clicking the super thanks heart button below as well. And so, the court case file reveals that the original bill of indictment was filed with the court on June 9th and served on Cora Jakes' husband in the jail in Ellis County. And if you want to see all of the detailed allegations of the sexual assault as reflected in the indictment, you can watch my prior video. But on the same day that the grand jury returned the indictment, the court appointed an attorney for Cora Jakes' husband and set his first appearance setting to take place on August 26, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. And so upon being served with this paperwork though, on this very same day, Cora Jakes' husband drafted this document that he has entitled a motion to dismiss counsel. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why he's messing around with this, because you think that if he didn't do what he's been accused of, what he'd be filing is a motion to dismiss this whole damn case. But anyway, y'all, let me stay focused. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know if the attorney thought that Brandon Coleman was joking or what, but the attorney stayed on the case when he could have immediately filed a motion with the court to withdraw. And quite frankly, that is exactly what I would have done, and that is exactly what I expected him to do. And I admit, we don't know what all is going on in the background, but in my last video, I noted that the attorney acknowledged his receipt of the DA's list of exculpatory evidence. And I thought it was odd, since Cora Jakes' husband's motion was written and delivered to the court in such an outcry manner. Well, if anybody thought he was kidding, they can think again, because on August 16, 2022, he refiled another copy of that motion to dismiss the attorney with the court. And now let me just stop here for a moment and note for lay people who may not be attorneys that just because somebody files something with the court, it does not mean that that thing that they're asking for will happen. You have to know how to follow proper procedure, and that's why people appoint attorneys. And so that means that Brandon Coleman would have needed to have made sure that the motion was actually set on the court's docket to be heard by the judge in a court hearing on a particular date and time. And then all parties of record in the case would have to be provided proper notice of that particular hearing date and time so that they can have time to respond to the motion or oppose the motion. And so none of that happened. And I guess the attorney was not going to help him to accomplish this since he was being fired. And so let's get a little flavor of this jailhouse letter written by Cora Jake's husband. And so he states, defendant's attorney of record is John Failer, who has performed in one or more of the following, which has caused irreconcilable differences, conflicts, and or rendered ineffective assistance of counsel. Namely, number one, failure of counsel to file motions as requested by client. Number two, failure of counsel to have pro se motions heard. And boo, you ain't pro se until the people withdraw from your case. So until the attorney withdraws, you're not pro se, but I see what you're saying. And these pro se motions are the motions which we know of, one of which is the motion to dismiss the attorney. And reason number 3 listed here as item 6, the total the total breakdown of communications between attorney and client. Okay, so now I'm feeling this all in my spirit, y'all, and I just don't see how that attorney can't feel this thing as strong as I did when I read it the first damn time. But I'll tell you one thing, he feels it now, because on the day before the date set for the first announcement hearing, and so if you remember, the first announcement hearing was set for August 26th. And so the day before that, the attorney hooks up with the DA and he notes his receipt of the plea bargain offer. And he also indicates here that he will be filing a motion to withdraw as attorney for Cora Jake's husband. And so now, as you can see here, the case has been reset for a second announcement, which is set to take place on October the 4th, 2022. And so this little hot potato here confirms what I felt going on when I read the first motion to dismiss the attorney. And so I'll say again, this document screams out that I am not just gonna sit down and shut the hell up in this jail cell. That's what I feel when I read this thing. And it clearly says to me that the attorney is trying to get Cora Jake's husband to enter into a plea agreement. And this guy is saying, it is not so. He ain't doing it, okay? And so it's hard to tell what the hell all is going on here. But there is definitely clear, unmitigated outcry all around this document and Cora Jake's husband's desire to get rid of this attorney. But as you know on here, I just ask and report, and I'll let you decide. So what do you think about this case? I really can't make heads nor tail out of it. It is a strong outcry of something that I can't really just put my finger on. And so do you think there's any possibility that this man did not sexually assault the child and the child is lying? Or do you think he knows he did it, but he thinks that he's smart enough that he can convince people that he did not do this, or that he can be more believable than the child? Please let me know by leaving your comments in the comment section below. And I hope you'll also give me a big thumbs up. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video by clicking the super heart button below. And while you're there, I want to also ask that you please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so you'll be notified whenever I come back with more hot tea drama on this case. And please also follow me on TikTok and Instagram.
Hey babe, it's me. So they checked me into a psychiatric hospital yesterday because I didn't do well picking up Amauri, and I put my pain and my fear and anxiety on her in a very unhealthy way. And after getting ripped apart about that, I got very, very suicidal.
Now, this sounds like Cora Jakes, and maybe it is. But if so, what does it mean, if anything? And does it shed any light on the veracity of her daughter, Amauri Coleman, in connection with her sexual assault allegations against Cora Jakes' husband? Well, if you want to know what I think about this audio that has made its rounds around the internet, you better stick around. Hi there, I'm Professor Blackmore, and welcome back to my channel and to my series entitled Potter's House PedoFiles, the Sex, Lies, and Audio Tapes Edition. Now, in my previous episodes of my series entitled Potter's House PedoFiles, I broke down the cold hard facts directly from the criminal court indictment surrounding the arrest of Richard Brandon Coleman, the husband of Cora Jakes Coleman, aka the daughter of BishopTDJakes of the Potter's House Church. And so, if you want to get caught up on all of the shocking details, please watch my prior video series, and I'll place a direct link in the description section below. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video by clicking the super thanks heart button below as well. And so, let's jump right in. Now, since this is the Sex, Lies, and Audio Tape Edition, I'm going to approach each point of interest in that order. And so I'm going to take you back to the criminal indictment so that we can review the allegations of the crimes that the district attorney will have to prove against Cora Jakes' husband, Brandon Coleman, and prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. And this is an important legal standard, which means that the jury cannot, or at least they should not, convict a person if there is any doubt whatsoever that the person committed the crime as alleged. And so I do want to stop briefly and note that Brandon Coleman has been detained in jail on bail in the amount of $150,000. As you can see, as reflected by the jail records, Brandon Coleman has been held in the Ellis County Jail for 123 days, and he remains there as we speak. And either Cora Jakes, she's been directly instructed not to post bond on his behalf, or she does not want to post bond on behalf of her husband, i.e., because she believes, maybe, allegedly, possibly, that he committed the crimes as alleged in the indictment. And so, as you can see here, all of these crimes as alleged relate to touching allegations rather than actual penetration with the sexual organ type allegations. Now, actual penetration with the sexual organ will produce actual forensic DNA evidence that would establish beyond a reasonable doubt that the event in fact occurred and who actually committed the act. While on the other hand, having allegations of touching leads the evidence, it seems, to accepting the word of the child that these events actually occurred. Now, I had expected, as the investigation matriculated, there would be additional allegations added to the indictment. But at this point in time, there have not. And there has not been a complaint or information filed by the district attorney. So this case is proceeding at this time based solely on the grand jury indictment, supported wholly by the touching allegations. And there are no counts in the indictment at this time that allege actual penetration of the sexual organ. And so it appears that it'll be a case based on the word of the child. And as such, we must keep in mind that the Sixth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and the Confrontation Clause provides a defendant the right to confront the witnesses against him at the time of trial. So I don't see how the child will be able to escape having to testify under oath at the time of trial. Based on the age of the child, there may be some type of partition placed up in between her and the defendant at the time of trial, but I don't see how she'll be able to escape this very important constitutional right. And so now this brings us to the lies and audio tapes. And so now, obviously, based on all of the aforementioned information, Brandon Coleman's theory of the case would be to provide evidence that the child has a history of lying if he wants to create doubt in an effort to overcome the beyond a reasonable doubt standard. Now, I've received numerous comments and messages indicating that the child is a liar. I received this comment about a podcast conducted a few years ago in which it is alleged that Sister Sarah Jakes remarked about the child lying. Now, you'll remember in my prior video that I showed you a list of evidence that the DA intends to use at the time of trial, or what we call exculpatory evidence, which includes audio recordings from a detention center. And at that time, I couldn't imagine that Cora Jakes would be calling the jail if she actually believed the child's allegations. Now, there is an audio tape swirling around the internet that purports to be of a call made from Cora Jakes to Brandon Coleman's cell phone. Now, I have no way of actually knowing when this call was made, and I don't think anybody has substantiated in any way by direct evidence when the call was actually made. And I have no way of knowing where the call was made to, or actually from. I'm assuming that the call was made to Brandon Coleman's cell phone, but I really just have no way of knowing exactly where the call was made to and what Cora Jakes is talking about in the call. But she describes an event in which she was upset with the child for some reason. Now, some people want to assume, that's right, I can't see this as anything else but assuming that the call was made while Brandon Coleman has been detained in jail, and that Cora was referring to an event that may have been tied to Cora's belief that the child was lying about the sexual assault allegations. But when you listen to the audio, it does not state when it was made, and there are conflicting reports out there that this was really from an event that occurred in 2021. So we have absolutely no idea. And the audio does not reveal exactly what Cora Jakes is talking about. So let's listen to this audio.
Hey babe, it's me. So they checked me into a psychiatric hospital yesterday because I didn't do well picking up Amauri, and I put my pain and my fear and anxiety on her in a very unhealthy way. And after getting ripped apart about that, I got very, very suicidal. And Dr. Jill just happened to be there. So Sarah and her worked out for me to be at a psychiatric hospital for the next couple of days to be on suicide watch. They're taking care of the kids, and I've been able to do a lot of processing here. I actually slept for like 6 hours. I haven't slept for over an hour or two since Sunday. Eating a little bit, but not a lot. And I just wanted to check in with you and let you know what's going on. And you know, I wrote you a letter, I wrote Maya a letter, I wrote Tuka a letter, and then just a letter to family in general. But I love you, and I guess I'll try to call you back in a little bit. Bye.
Now, I can't, it doesn't fit together for me that this was actually audio from the same time that Brandon Coleman is in jail. I don't see her saying I love you and babe, calling him babe, but I'll let y'all decide. Now, if you listen to audio from videos from the YouTube channel of YouTuber Nosy Bystander, and I'm placing the direct link in the description section below, but in those interviews, Brandon Coleman specifically states that he has not spoken to Cora since he has been detained in jail. Now, I'm directing you to her YouTube channel to listen to all of the audio interviews, but let's listen to a little bit of this audio.
Have you talked to her while you've been in Ellis County?
No.
So no letters, no calls from Cora, nothing?
Nothing.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm here, so I really don't know what to think. So, I figured I cut all my ties because, all my ties have been cut anyways. And like I said, I really didn't know what to think. So I'm here, I'm here. So what am I supposed to think?
Yeah. And well, when you were first arrested, you were arrested in Grand Prairie. At any time while you were in Grand Prairie, did you talk to Cora?
I called her when I got locked up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I called her when I got locked up.
And what did she say? Do you remember the call?
She just said, "I'm so sorry."
And so not only does he state that he has not spoken to Cora Jakes, but he also specifically states that Cora Jakes has not called or written to him since he's been detained in jail. And now he does state that he made a call to her when he was in the prior jail before he was extradited to the county, the target county, Ellis County. So he calls her and sounds like a very brief conversation. But in any other respect, it seems that he states from his own mouth that he has not spoken to her. Now, Brandon Coleman does state that he was able to speak to Cora when she was hospitalized in the psych hospital. So let's take a listen to that as well.
So Cora was institutionalized. She went to a mental health care facility. You know that. And she's left you several voicemails while she was in the facility. When she was in the facility, did you, other than the voicemails, were you able to talk to her while she was there and basically help her with her mental health or get an understanding as to why she was even there?
I was able to talk to her, and just kind of check on her, see how what was going on, with her and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was able to talk with her.
Okay, so let's try to untangle all of these confusing bits and pieces. So now this audio also substantiates my belief that the audio from Cora Jakes to Brandon Coleman that we listened to earlier when she was hospitalized must have been from a time prior to the time when he was detained in jail. And he could have said that when he was answering the question. So I really don't know what's going on. People are working together to try to piece stuff together to make it sound a certain kind of way. But he could have said, yeah, back in 2021 or whenever it was. And so anyone who would want to establish that Cora Jakes does not believe the child because she's talking to Brandon Coleman while he is in jail cannot establish this, because Brandon Coleman himself specifically states that he has not spoken to Cora Jakes except for the one time in Grand Prairie, in the Grand Prairie jail. He has not spoken to Cora Jakes since he's been detained in the Ellis County jail. Now, I've also received comments from numerous people about allegations the child made in a previous home, a previous foster care home, wherein she makes sexual allegations against another person in another foster care home committed by someone else. Now, here's a small portion of audio which reveals what I see to be Brandon Coleman's theory of his case, in which he would purport to establish that the child has a history of lying. And so now let's take a listen to some of this.
Yeah. And, you know, this kind of like one of the things I told I told someone else was that this is not the first time that this has been brought up as far as an allegation like this. One of the biggest things we had, well, that was one of the earlier things we had when we adopted Amauri early on, was this against someone else. Within the first few months of fostering, we had something like this come up.
With where she was staying prior to her adoption? Correct. So, that was one of those things that kind of, when this came up, kind of shook me a little bit. Like, this is not new. This is something that's happened before. So it made me question a whole lot of things with that as well. And that's why I said what I said, like, since early on, when we adopted her, one of the biggest things we had was her and her being, and one, telling the truth was always an issue. Even during our marriage, we had big issues with that. Yeah.
So much so that we even threatened to put her in a boarding home.
Because of the lying.
Yeah, it was like ridiculous. Asking what color the sky would be was always iffy, you know?
Okay, so to me, something does not quite add up to me about this testimony from Mr. Brandon Coleman. First of all, it seems that this is being placed into the atmosphere by him only. I have not seen any proof of these allegations coming from anybody but Brandon Coleman. Now, based on my personal interactions with the Texas Child Protective Services, it does not add up, because Brandon Coleman has stated in prior portions of this audio that this child has been in their home since she was age 3. And that includes time that they actually fostered the child as well. So when would the child have been in another home? Based on my prior dealings with Child Protective Services, they would not have a child being fostered in Cora Jakes' home for some period of time beginning at age 3, then move the child to another home to be fostered, and then move the child back to Cora Jakes to be fostered for foster care, and ultimately to be adopted. So it's something about this does not quite add up. It's just not something that Child Protective Services would do based on creating a stable environment for a child. They don't move children back and forth to different places. If they had a reason to move her out of their home after being fostered, I don't see them moving the child back to their home. They would have been moving the child for some reason. Okay, that developed into something that was not in the best interest of the child. So I wouldn't see them moving the child back there to be adopted. So there's just something about this that's a little off. Also, if this was an allegation a child made in a prior home, was it when the child was 2 or 3 years old? At the age of 2 or 3, the child makes a similar sexual allegation like this. The child can speak and talk about sexual acts. Just doesn't add up. Or was there some point in time when the child was older, when she moved out of their home being fostered? They said that they fostered the child since she was 3. So CPS moves the child to another home to be fostered. So she's in another home when she's at some point in time when she's older. And then she made these similar allegations. It does not quite add up for me. Okay. So in addition, many of you have commented or messaged me stating that there is audio wherein the child admits to Cora Jakes that the allegations she made against her adoptive father, Brandon Coleman, are not true. So I'm going to let you listen to this so I can give you my opinion about this as well. So let's check it out.
So we left off when we were discussing that recording. So there was a recording that was sent to you with Amauri and Cora, and it sounded like they were having a conversation. And you were getting ready to tell me who sent it, the recording to you. Because you believe that this individual may or may not be wanting to help you in your case. So can you go into that a little bit further?
Well, yeah, I mean, Cora sent it to me.
Cora sent it to you?
Yeah.
Why do you think she sent it to you?
I think it was the idea of, like I said, I questioned what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like what was being said. Like I didn't know what I was fighting. Like what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
So she sent that to me.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe that she did it because she believes you're innocent?
That's what I believe this whole time, you know. I believe that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? Because she's your wife of 12 years. She's inclined to believe you.
Okay, so neither one of the people in this interview actually state exactly what the child said. And what I got from what Brandon Coleman was saying is that he asked Cora what was going on. And Cora played this alleged audio from a conversation she had with the child, wherein the child made these sexual allegations to her, i.e. Cora Jakes. Now, I don't know why that would be seen as Cora Jakes trying to help him, but we have no way of knowing what was said on that audio recording either. So, let's recap. We have Brandon Coleman stating that the child has a history of lying. In order to prove this, you would need CPS records from other prior foster parents proving this up. Based on Brandon Coleman's own audio, we know that he has not spoken to Cora Jakes since he has been in the Ellis County Jail. She has not called or written since he's been there. He called her one time when he was first detained in Grand Prairie, but he called her, and what we do know is that she, Cora Jakes, has declined to bail her husband, Brandon Coleman, out of jail. Now, whatever audio there is out there between Cora Jakes and her daughter, Amauri, based on Brandon Coleman in his own audio interview, in his own words, it appears that it's audio of the child actually making the allegations that are made the basis of the criminal indictment. So, other than Brandon Coleman's word, we have nothing. We really have nothing to substantiate that the child has a history of lying. Now, if there is video wherein Sarah Jakes states that the child has a history of lying, I will call her to the stand at the time of trial if I represented Brandon Coleman, because this would create enough doubt to overcome a finding of guilt beyond reasonable doubt on allegations that are based only at this moment in time on the word of the child. But I personally have not heard or seen this podcast. And if someone has a copy of it, please send it to your girl. And so, with all of this being said, as you know on here, I just ask and report, and I let you decide. So, what do you think? Based on all of this, do you think the child is lying? And do you think Cora Jakes thinks the child is lying? Why do you think Cora Jakes has not bailed her husband out of jail if she believes him? Why has Cora Jakes not called or written her husband in jail if she believes him? Please let me know by leaving your comments in the comments section below. And I hope you'll also give me a big thumbs up. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video by clicking the super thanks heart button below. And while you're there, I want to also ask that you please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so you'll be notified whenever I come back with more hot tea drama on this case. And please also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Honey child and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this thing is heating up. And today I got some attorney mail hot off the presses straight from the desk of the attorney for Cora Jakes' husband, Richard Brandon Coleman. So you better stick around if you want to see what's in these new court documents. Hi there, I'm Professor Blackmore, and welcome back to my channel and to my series entitled Potter's House PedoFiles. Now, in previous episodes of this series, I have provided direct facts directly from the court file pertinent to the criminal court indictment surrounding the arrest of Richard Brandon Coleman, the husband of Cora Jakes Coleman, aka the daughter of BishopTDJakes of the Potter's House Church. And so you'll want to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so you'll be notified when I follow up on this case. And if you want to get caught up on all of the details of this case, please watch my entire video series. And I'll place a direct link in the description section below. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video by clicking the super thanks heart button below as well. And as you know, the indictment alleges that Cora Jakes' husband touched their adopted daughter on one or more occasions in an inappropriate manner, let's just say. And he was arrested in the Ellis County Jail and has been there ever since. Now thereafter, on or about June 9th, 2022, the grand jury returned a 5-count indictment. And so if we look at our court case file, we can see that the original bill of indictment was filed with the court on June 9th and served on Cora Jakes' husband in the jail in Ellis County. And on that same day, the court appointed an attorney and set his first appearance setting to take place on August 26, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. But upon being served with this paperwork on that exact same day, Cora Jakes' husband drafted this document that he entitled Motion to Dismiss Counsel. And when I read the document, the language and the boldness of the handwriting just spoke straight to my spirit, y'all. So I expected the attorney to forthwith file a motion with the court requesting to withdraw from the case. And I personally would have done that sooner rather than later. in the interest of justice so that a new attorney could be appointed to the case as soon as possible. Because a lot of time has gone by and I really don't see any of the things happening that should be happening in a case like this. I mean, one of the first things I would have done is move the court to lower this bail. I mean, honestly, there are times when I've seen bail in the amount of $50,000 on an attempted murder or negligent homicide case in Texas. And the bail in this case is still set at $150,000. And so I, in my opinion, think that's a little bit too high. But for whatever reason, the attorney stayed on the case when he knew Brandon Coleman strongly desired that he not be his attorney. And as I noted in one of my prior videos, on July 25th, 2022, the attorney acknowledged his receipt of the DA's very interesting list of exculpatory evidence, which I really feel he should have allowed a new attorney to do. Because, honey child, that list spoke straight to my spirit as well. But anyway, y'all, let me stay focused. Now, if you want to see what all the evidence they claim they have, you'll have to watch my prior video for that. And so, on August 16th, 2022, Brandon Coleman refiled with the court another copy of his motion to dismiss the attorney. And this time, I guess the attorney got the message, because on the day before the date set for the first announcement hearing, it seems the attorney met with the district attorney. And the attorney noted at that time his receipt of the plea bargain offer, and he indicates on that same paperwork that he will be filing a motion to withdraw as attorney for Cora Jake's husband. And in my opinion, again, a new attorney could have been on the case maybe by now and could have taken on the responsibility of some of these actions, because when the attorney is accepting notice of all of these various items, it signifies to the court on the record that Brandon Coleman himself has been made aware of all of this information. And as you can see, the case has been reset for a second announcement set to take place on October the 4th, 2022. And so this makes me feel that the attorney was probably very strongly trying to convince Brandon Coleman to enter into some type of plea agreement. And I'll tell you one thing, although I was not there, these documents speak loudly and clearly to me that Brandon Coleman said not no, but hell to the goddamn no. And so now finally, on September the 6th, 2022, the attorney has filed a proper motion to withdraw as attorney. He just gives standard reasons for wanting to withdraw, wherein he states communications between the attorney and defendant are such that the defendant requests that a different attorney be appointed to represent him in this matter, end quote. I.e., I was trying to convince him to enter into a plea, and he said, hell no. let me translate what that means for you. But anyway, the attorney asked the court, which I also find interesting, to grant the motion without the need of a hearing. But the judge said, not so fast, y'all. And he set the matter for a hearing, which is set to take place on September the 29th, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. And I tell you one thing, I would love to be a fly on the wall, honey child. Because I guarantee you that the judge is going to let Brandon Coleman know that he has the right to an attorney, but he doesn't have a right to necessarily have the attorney that he wants to damn have. And so maybe the judge might try one more time and appoint another attorney, but the judge is not going to play musical attorneys with this boy, okay? Now that's for sure. And so now another interesting thing I noted here is that the judge could have just taken this matter up during the October the 4th hearing. And so I find it very interesting that the judge set this matter to be heard prior to that October the 4th hearing. While I expect the judge to grant the motion, since both parties, Brandon Coleman and the attorney, have written motions on file, the judge could very well deny the motion in order that the attorney remain on the case. And I would be shocked if that happens. But as you know on here, I just ask and report, and I let you decide. There's so many strange, unusual things happening in this case, and you just don't know who's where, who knows who where, who, what, when, why, where. It's all very strange. They're very strange things to me that are occurring in the life of this case. And so what do you think about this tasty morsel of courthouse drama? Do you think the judge will grant the motion, as he should, and appoint a new attorney? Or do you think the judge will deny the motion and order the current attorney remain on the case? And if he does that, that's going to make me really think there's something going on inside here. There's an inside job. But anyway, y'all, please let me know by leaving your comments in the comment section below. And I hope you'll also give me a big thumbs up. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video by clicking the super thanks heart button below, which would very much help this channel to proceed on, and which would also be very much appreciated by me. And while you're there, I want to also ask that you please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so you'll be notified whenever I come back with more hot tea drama on this case. And please also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Honey child, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Come to order, because court is now in session. And today, I got some mail hot off the presses, straight from the desk of the Honorable Presiding Judge for and in the Ellis County District Court, the 443rd Judicial District, of which judge is assigned to and presides over the criminal case against Cora Jake's husband, Richard Brandon Coleman. And Lordy have mercy, y'all. I'm beginning to think there's a dead cat on the line somewhere in this case. And if you want to know what's in this judge mail and why I feel like something loosey-goosey is going on in this case, you better stick around. Hi there, I'm Professor Blackmore, and welcome back to my channel and to my series entitled Potter's House PedoFiles. And if you want to get caught up on all of the facts that I provided directly from the criminal court file pertinent to the criminal court indictment surrounding the arrest of Richard Brandon Coleman, the husband of Cora Jakes Coleman, aka the daughter of BishopTDJakes of the Potter's House Church, please watch my entire series. And you'll also want to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, honey child, and click the bell so you'll be notified when I follow up on this case, because another hearing is set to take place on October the 4th, 2022. And you know I'm going to have my ear pressed straight up against them streets, honey. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video by clicking the super thanks heart button below. as well. And while I usually take this series in the afternoon, my spirit won't let me be at peace until I drop all the hot tea. So I'm coming to you first thing this morning, honey child. And so, as you know, the indictment alleges that Cora Jake's husband touched their adopted daughter on one or more occasions in an inappropriate manner in Tarrant County and in Ellis County. Now, he was arrested in May in Grand Prairie, Texas, which is also very suspicious to me, but let me stay focused. And eventually, he was taken to the Ellis County Jail, where he's been ever since. Now, thereafter, on or about June the 9th, 2022, a grand jury in Ellis County returned a 5-count indictment. And on that same day, the court set his first appearance setting to take place on August 26, 2022. And the setting notice also made reference to the attorney that had been appointed on the case to represent Brandon Coleman. Now, on or about June the 10th, 2022, as reflected in this precept, this paperwork was served on Brandon Coleman in the Ellis County Jail. Now, on that same day, Brandon Coleman drafted this handwritten document expressing his desire in the strongest possible terms to dismiss the attorney from his case. Now, the motion clearly indicates that there is a breakdown in communications between him and the appointed attorney. And so it makes it seem as if they had actually communicated. Now, I personally heard Brandon Coleman recently say during an interview after he filed this motion that he had never spoken to the attorney. And so these two things cannot be true. And I honestly feel as if he's doing himself a disservice by doing all of this talking. But anyway, y'all. And so I'm not certain whether his reasons for wanting to get rid of this attorney are valid or not. But he has stated his desire nonetheless in writing, and he's filed it with the court. But it was not until September the 6th, 2022, that the attorney filed the proper paperwork with the court in the form of a proper motion to withdraw as attorney, so that that matter could be brought to the court's attention and addressed in open court with the judge. Now, the attorney asked the court to grant the motion without the need of a hearing. But obviously, something about this raised the judge's eyebrow, and he set the matter for a hearing that was set to take place yesterday, September the 29th, 2022 at 1:30 p.m., which would be just a few days prior to the already set second appearance hearing, which is set to take place on October the 4th, 2022. Now, the judge could have taken Brandon Coleman's request to get rid of this attorney up at the same time as the October the 4th hearing. And so I found it interesting that the judge set the attorney's motion to withdraw to be heard just a few days prior to the October the 4th hearing. And now if you go back and watch my prior video at that time, I stated that while I expected the judge to grant the motion, since both parties have written motions on file, the judge could very well deny the motion and order that the attorney remain on the case. And I stated further that I would be shocked if that happened. And you won't believe this, but the judge did not grant the motion. And so let's just go over some of the things that we can see from this docket sheet, including the judge's handwritten notes from the September the 29th court proceedings that I just feel are not in the furtherance, in my opinion. They're not in the furtherance of justice being done. Now, that's just my opinion. I'm just, But anyway, y'all. Now, because of COVID, we've gotten comfortable with what I call COVID court. And in my opinion, things don't play out the same way as they do when you have all of the parties right there in the courtroom, right there in front of the judge, so that you can cut through all of the BS and get down to the heart of the matter. And I expected that if the judge was going to go through the hassle of setting the matter to be heard, that they would have a proper hearing in which the sheriff would actually bring the defendant over from the jail so everybody could be in the same room. Now, in my experience in courts in Texas, there is not a time, not one time, that I will step into a courtroom without making sure I have a court reporter and that every single word is being documented on the record. And so I just feel as if most criminal court proceedings should go forward with a court reporter. Maybe not so much so all the time in civil courts, but in criminal courts, whenever a hearing is set, when most hearings are set in a criminal case, those hearings should go forward with a court reporter so that all of the matters can be documented on the record. But there are times when it doesn't happen. And this is something that Brandon Coleman could more readily request if he's actually in the court and can see all of the people who are actually there, i.e. can see that a court reporter is sitting there taking down the court record. And this is the disadvantage that he has in not knowing the law. And I don't see that this attorney would make sure that it was on the record either. And so this notation made by the judge on the docket sheet at the time of the hearing seems to indicate that Brandon Coleman remained in custody and he appeared at the hearing from the jail via WebEx. And now, I don't know if the man is innocent or guilty, but in my opinion, this is outrageous, okay? Now, I originally thought that this attorney was appointed on June the 9th, 2022, and I couldn't understand why or how Brandon Coleman was so quickly able to determine on June the 10th, 2022, that he didn't want this attorney. But when you look at this notation, it seems to purport that the judge actually appointed the attorney as early as May 23rd, 2022. And now if you go back and review my prior video on this in part 3, when Brandon Coleman first filed his motion to get rid of the attorney, my original assessment was that this attorney must have had some type of communications with Brandon Coleman, and I got the feeling he may have been talking to him about taking a plea, and that was what got Brandon Coleman so hot and bothered and urged him to file the motion to get rid of the attorney. And I'm beginning to think that that is exactly what's going on here. But whatever is going on though, the judge ain't buying it, because he states here that the court did not grant the motion to withdraw, but he does state that the court can revisit the issue. Now, this case is reset to take place on October the 4th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m., at which time the court is supposed to take up the second appearance hearing that was reset so that the attorney could file a proper motion to withdraw. Now, I find that this is all highly suspicious, y'all. And while I can't quite put my finger on it, there is a definite dead cat on the line somewhere. And I'll state again that I think this bail being set at $150,000 is too high for this case. But it seems everybody, including the defense attorney, is all right with it. I mean, even if I don't think it will be granted, you still want to file a motion. You still want to make sure that written motion is on file. And there is absolutely nothing on file about lowering this bail. I mean, I just get the feeling of loosey-goosey dancing all around in my spirit about this case. And like I said before, I don't know if this man is guilty or innocent, but something just ain't right here. And now, I don't know if this is true, but Brandon Coleman stated that he only lived in that house in Ellis County with Cora Jakes and the children for 1 month. So let's take a listen to that.
Where were you when that occurred? Were you in your home in Ellis County, or were you still staying with the Jakes in their guest home when these allegations came about?
Yeah, we at the time we had our own home.
Okay. And how long did you live there prior to these allegations?
Not even a month.
Not even a month. And how did you acquire the home? Did you and Cora purchase the home? Was it gifted to you?
I mean,
do you remember?
Yeah, it wasn't gifted.
Okay. So you got a mortgage, you purchased the home.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I just don't see how, if most of these allegations most likely took place in Tarrant County, why instead of Tarrant County, this case ends up in Ellis County. And so for me, it's just beginning to have the feel of an inside job, but I can't quite put my finger on it. But as you know on here, I just ask and report, and I let you decide. So what do you think? Do you think this is an inside job somehow? I know everybody's saying that they think that Cora Jakes set this boy up, but I'm sorry. There are too many pieces to put together, and I certainly just don't think she's smart enough to put all this together. But somebody orchestrated this. You have to have a lot of people who are agreeing to, with a wink and a smile, sign on to this. And I just don't think that she has the wherewithal to put all this together. But I begin to think somebody is behind all of this. And so please let me know by leaving your comments in the comment section below. And I hope you'll also give me a big thumbs up. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video by clicking the super thanks heart button below. And while you're there, I want to also ask that you please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so you'll be notified whenever I come back with more hot tea drama on this case. And please also follow me on TikTok and Instagram.